you're going to have to do all of this stuff, and you have no idea if it's going to work. There's this, I think about the gap from where people are in a place that they don't want to be until they get to a place that they do. And I think of it like a lonely chapter. So everybody.
So this is the premise of the video, and it's so important, which is why I wanted to talk about it. If you're someone who's ambitious and you're not where you want to be, there's this weird in-between period that Chris Williamson calls the lonely chapter, where you're not where you want to be, but you're lost in this period. And it's a very weird time in a person's life. And there's a reason it's called the lonely chapter, because you very much feel alone. But let's continue.
That has got from a place where they don't want to be to one where they are. There's a point where they're so different that they can't resonate with their old set of friends.
Right.
But they're not yet sufficiently developed that they've created their new set of friends. And there's this temptation to go back to the old patterns, the old ways of thinking. And I did this live show.
And this is probably the biggest part of the video where I disagree with Chris on. If you know anything about Chris Williamson, you'll know that he didn't have a lot of friends when he was younger, and he had a hard time making friends. But I think this is a mistake because he sees it as you have to kind of let go of your old friends during this lonely chapter. And I don't think that's good advice. You should never disregard your friends just because they're not on the same path as you. You can make new friends that are on that same path, but that doesn't mean you throw away your old friends. And I'll give Chris the benefit of the doubt because I know his past and his history, because he didn't have the best of luck with friends when he was younger. But I don't think this is the best advice to give.
In London last year, my first big headline show at the event in Apollo in London. It was pretty cool. And this idea, I think, was one that really resonated with a lot of people because everybody's trying to grow. And there is an incentive for you to stay in the same place because not that many people grow. Most people don't change. Right. They make little changes. They'll cut their hair or they'll lose 5 pounds or, they'll switch from one company to another. But how many people do you know that have lost 50 pounds or moved to a different country or have genuinely changed the way that they see the world?
It's pretty rare.
And that is true. It is pretty rare. And I think his idea of it is that you do have to let go of the comfort that is your old friends. But I think you can be a better man and still be on your path. And yes, it's going to be lonely in a lot of senses. You're not going to want to be talking about these things that you're doing and this path that you're on. But if you have good friends, they'll be supportive. And that's an important thing. But what he's talking about when it comes to radical changes, very few people make serious radical changes. And there is something to be said about having other people around you that are encouraging you and are also making these radical changes.
Creatures, we're so shaped by the people around us that we can't help but be tempted. You're going to have to do something. If you want to go from where you are to where you want to be, you're going to have to do something that makes you more different, more weird, more easy to be mocked, especially if you come from a country like the UK where I'm from. Being different's not particularly celebrated in that way. It's the sort of thing that's quite easily mocked. There's a big culture of piss taking. And if you start, what are you talking to people on the internet for? It's fucking weird. Like that's stupid. That's not going to work. Why are you going to do that? So if you don't have that level of enthusiasm, there is no support around you to tell you that the thing that you're trying to do, the taking up the martial art, why are you training this taekwondo bullshit, fucking 6 nights a week? Why are you coaching all of these mums and all of these
I mean, you can clearly see his own experiences coming out in this. There is a point where I agree with him, but if you made good friends and if you attracted good friends throughout your life, they will be supportive. Yes, they might give you a little shit. That's normal. That's, just friendship. But deep down, if it's a good friend, they're going to be supportive of you, just as you should be supportive of them when they talk about their dreams and what they want to do.
Old guys and how to do Tai Chi or whatever. Why are you doing that? Well, because maybe I'm sort of pulled to it, and there is this temptation to go back to your old ways of thinking. Go back to the road that you already know how it's going to end. And I get the sense that this is not a bug. It is a feature. It's a part of moving from a place that you do not want to be to one that you do. And for the most part, you actually need to live through this lonely chapter. And you look at it and you go, well, the fucking Rocky montage was 3.5 minutes. For me, it's been 5 years. Where's the championship ring? You know what I mean? I haven't won the fight. Where's Apollo Creed? None of this stuff's happened. The thing that I wish more stories talked about.
That's so true. It's like when you're on the hero's journey, the hero falls into the abyss and things seem to not be working and he's training hard, and that's life. and it's hard. And in movies, the hero gets like a time skip arc where they just train for 2 years. Then they come back and they're strong, powerful, and successful. In real life, it doesn't happen in the blink of an eye. This is the lonely chapter of your life where you have to focus on something and work hard. And we're all destined to fall into the abyss at some point in our lives. You have to aim up, climb out of it. And if you do make it to the other side, you will be successful and things will work out. This is your training montage.
If you watch it in the movies, yeah, sure, there's ups and downs in the journey of the athlete that's going to change his life around and get the goal. But his self-belief never wavers, right? He makes the decision, and it's one straight shot, typically. And there'll be some challenges, but he'll get there. His self-belief never wavers. I don't think that that's what the experience of doing personal growth is like at all. In my experience, you're just swimming in uncertainty and fear and a lack of belief that it's even going to happen. You don't even have the promise of glory on the other side of it. I don't even know if this is going to be worth it. And I'm fucking doing Sam Harris's waking up meditation.
Self-doubt is normal, but the hero deep down knows that things are going to work out. And there's uncertainty, there's rocky moments in our journeys, but you have to know deep down that, if I do this, it's going to work out. And maybe it won't work out in 6 months, but if I give myself 10 damn years, yeah, it's going to work out. And, during those 10 years, you're going to have self-doubt. There's going to be uncertainty. There's going to be ups and downs, and it's going to be hard. But I do think what makes the hero is that self-belief, unwavering self-belief.
And I'm journaling on a morning, I'm going to the gym. Why am I eating meat and fruit? Does this even work? Like, you're doing all of this stuff, scrabbling like a guy in a fucking well, trying to find a handhold.
And if you don't have a good community of people that are also doing that, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is most people's experience, because if most people don't change, you are going to be an outlier if you're somebody who does change. I think about personal growth kind of like a rocket ship taking off. And as you take off, you've got a particular velocity that you're moving at. And what you want is to find other people moving at the same velocity as you. But the quicker that you move, the fewer people are going to be like you, right? So some people will be ahead of you, and you're in this lonely chapter, and then you catch up to them. And then, oh no. And this isn't, some comment on people that work on themselves are like morally better or worse than anybody else. But it's just a stark sort of fact about you talk to people and you resonate with people that are at the same level of life as you are. And that kind of makes sense. You have things to discuss. You're encountering the same sorts of challenges, whether it's in terms of your self-worth or your wealth or your relationship status or all of these things. Birds of a feather, right? And, one of the, I guess, difficult realizations of people who want to change their life is that if you do it well, you might have to go through a period where you let go of all of your friends. But the really bad realization is if you do it really well, you might have to.
Again, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but this is not the way to do it. If you have childhood friends or friends from college, fraternity brothers, you don't just throw those friendships away because they don't make the same amount of money as you. They don't have the same experiences. This might be true for when you make new friends. You want your new friends to be on that same level, but the experiences you share with old friends are so special and so important. And you can be the one to encourage them to grow and them to push themselves. And there's tremendous meaning in doing that and helping your friends that way. And as far as being an outlier is concerned, if you want anything in life, you're always going to be a damn outlier. Being an outlier is a good thing. But yes, you do want friends that, you're also pushing on that, rocket ship that he's talking about. But at the end of the day, you can have room for your old friends.
To do that multiple times throughout your life. You find a group of people, finally, I've landed after, that period where I was on my own and I didn't really understand. Oh, fuck. I'm still going.
Yeah.
I now need, you mean I got to do it again?
Yeah.
I've got to do it again. I just thought that I'd found my group and I've got to do it again. This lonely chapter thing is, it's a big deal. And I think that it explains why so few people make big changes, because the temptation is always going to be to just go back to what's normal, go back to what I know. And it's why, America, for all that it's a horrible cis hetero patriarchal superstructure that's misogynistically keeping everybody down, it's an enthusiastic and sort of excitable country. And you guys have kind of got permanent first line cocaine energy about everything. And for me, it seems to be a real enthusing environment. It encourages me to do things, helps me to take risks. It's either that or get kicked in the head a lot. And I just love it. I love the fact that it makes me feel confident in doing difficult things. And I wish that more people had that community around them. I think largely Reddit is just a website filled with people who couldn't find other people to talk about their niche in their hometown. Like this particular
there's a lot of that, right?
Warhammer 40K version or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, Redditors, they're just the worst. But what he's saying is true. It's so much easier to fall back into comfort than to push through this uncertain, lonely chapter in your life. And for as much shit as I'm giving Chris about letting go of his old friends, it's a very difficult time. And you have to prioritize your goals, your dreams first. And sometimes that means you got to do it alone and you got to figure it out. And it might take a while, but you got to keep pushing. Everyone goes through this, and it's very good. And I'm very glad that someone like Chris is talking about this, because anyone that's not where they want to be knows how lost and lonely it is.
Yeah, it's difficult. And when you get to the stage where you're faced with some personal growth decision, you're always going to have to make this value exchange of, do I want to move forward on my own, or do I want to go back with my friends?
It's a good point, man. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I said everything I wanted to say. I don't think they're mutually exclusive, but the lonely chapter is very real. And if you're someone that's going through that chapter in your life and you feel so confused, just know that it's normal. Keep going, keep pushing. And I'm very grateful that Chris is talking about this.